Hi everyone, this is Penny from Wacka Witch Astrology, and I am here with Ms Avi from Hoodoo Delish.
Hey everybody.
Today we are here to talk about which signs of the zodiac are worth dating and kind of to help you make your own decision.
Yes. And that was between the two of us, I think we've dated the majority of the zodiac. So we have some perspective on the different signs and what the different pros and cons of each sign are, and maybe a little bit about how to seduce that special zodiac person you have your eye on. So
Yep, all right. So, first sign of the zodiac is Aries.
it's my sign. It's my favorite. No.
Yes. Now, a good thing about dating an Aries is they are self-sufficient people, they are self-starters, and usually they're very hardworking and they have their stuff together. They want to focus on having something to offer in a relationship. They're not just expecting someone else to like carry their weight in life. One of the bad things about Aries is that if they're not ready to admit what they want in life, then they might kind of like beat around the bush and just end up wasting a little bit of your time.
You know, I don't want to admit that there's anything bad about my sign, obviously, but it's kind of the truth. When an Aries really knows who they are, what they want, and they feel confident and comfortable admitting that, then they will really like directly communicate to you what their level of interest is and how they see you fitting into their life and all of that. When they're kind of lost and they don't really know if they're going left or going right, they change their mind a lot. We have a lot of struggles with identity crisis when we don't feel like we have clear goals. And then that can lead to very inconsistent behavior. And so you'll have an Aries who like won't stop talking to you on Monday and ignores you completely on Tuesday and wants to get married on Wednesday and is ignoring you again on Thursday because they're just changing their mind and their life goals.
Let's not put up with that. If an Aries is doing that, no.
Yeah, because the reality is it's not going to be your fault. If an Aries is behaving like that, it's almost, I would say, never have I experienced my own behavior being like that because of what someone else did. It's always been because I was not happy with where I was at that point in my life.
Yeah.
So now tips for seducing us, we're actually not that difficult. We really admire people who have their own goals, have their own ambitions, and are very independent in their thinking and their thought processes. So we like original thinkers and we like people who really want to stand out from the herd.
Yeah, the Aries who I've dated, they've expressed that they really appreciated that I was a strong person and I was able to not only handle my own emotions, but my own responsibilities as well.
Okay, so our next one is Taurus. And if you haven't noticed, we're using the tarot cards that are coordinated with each sign. Aries is the Emperor, Taurus is the Hierophant. So dating a Taurus, pros of dating a Taurus, they are very consistent. Cons of dating a Taurus, they are very consistent. So if they are consistently good, they're going to keep being consistently good. If they're consistently inconsistent, that is what you are going to deal with forever.
Yeah.
And Taurus, they do tend to have very stable personalities. So for some people, that, you know, some of us like I like the idea that I'm always knowing what response and reaction I'm going to get from my partner. There are other people who do not like that. So it's not necessarily going to be a great match for everyone. And Taurus, regardless of what their personality is like, they tend to have very strong and clearly defined personalities, and you are not going to change them.
Yeah, if they're a jerk from day one, then they're going to be a jerk all throughout the relationship, and you should probably not bother with them.
Yep.
Now, how to attract and seduce a Taurus? Basically,
feed them. Feed them. It's such a stereotype with Taurus, but it kind of is the truth. Taurus is the sign of all things that are sensual and physical. So food, sex, luxury. So a lot of people leave this out. Smelling good, wearing clothing that is like nice to touch or very luxurious looking, wrapping them up in like a soft fuzzy blanket.
They don't like things that look cheap.
No, they don't.
If you have like a hole in your pants and it's like an accidental hole or something, they might actually kind of judge you for it.
Right. Now, on the other hand, if you have designer jeans that somebody, you know, you paid $300 for someone to rip them up like that, Taurus is going to be like, all right, it's not the point. But, you know, and it depends on the Taurus, naturally. It really does depend on the Taurus. But in general, just looking like you put some time and effort into making them comfortable and like caring about their creature comforts is how to seduce them.
Yeah, and I think they would like probably judge you if you bought something from Walmart to wear too. Even if they work at Walmart, even if they love Walmart, they'd probably judge you. All right, so next we have Gemini.
Aww.
Now, one thing I love about Geminis is that they're very knowledgeable. They have a lot to talk about and a lot to teach people. And if you're someone who wants to be able to learn from your relationship partner and engage with them on a mental and psychological level, then Gemini is probably a really good option for you. But a bad thing about dating a Gemini.
If you like peace and quiet, this is not the sign for you. I love Geminis. I cannot stand dating them because they never shut up. Ever. If a Gemini shuts up, you have like seriously mortally wounded their feelings and you had better fix things.
But
like,
some Geminis are just like really shy at first.
Okay, at first, yes.
But yeah, once you get them into a relationship and you're at home with them and they know you, they're probably going to talk a lot.
Well, exactly. It's going to be like everything they've seen on Facebook in the past 3 days and all the books they're reading and the 3 encyclopedias they somehow found time to index and the new filing system they have and like the 17 hobbies they developed yesterday afternoon, you know, because they're a very, very energetic sign. They have a lot going on in their head. And they don't necessarily care if you respond to or engage with any of what they're saying. They just want you to be present. It's almost like they just want to bounce their words off of you, and that makes them feel loved. And honestly, one of the best ways to seduce them and make them feel loved is just to sit down and shut up and listen to them.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never really seduced a Gemini, I don't think.
They're very easy to seduce. Just literally sit down, nod when appropriate. Pet and tell is pretty. It's that simple. Yeah. They just want to be complimented on how smart they are and feel like their knowledge is appreciated. And the great thing is that a lot of the time, Gemini really does have some very cool things to say. So if you do enjoy listening to people, if you do enjoy learning, and you do enjoy having intellectual conversations, it's almost hard to not seduce them.
Yeah, I think you're right. That probably would work. Now I'm tempted to try it. Okay, so the next sign we have is Cancer. Now it's kind of weird because Cancer is ruled by the Chariot, which is kind of like a going to war card in tarot. I felt like it makes sense though.
Well, crabs are very ferocious.
It's probably because I've had a divorce with a Cancer though. It's like, yeah, going to war, that sounds like Cancer.
I've never had a divorce with a Cancer, but I have dated a few Cancers.
Okay, so good things about dating a Cancer is they're very caring, compassionate people. And I feel like you can really rely on them to not actually like abandon you because they have a really hard time even going through breakups to begin with. They
won't abandon you. They won't leave you. But that can also be a con.
But they might attack you instead. They're not going to leave, but they might like attack you, which is the con.
Yes, you know, you're stuck with me, even if I'm in a really crabby mood.
Yeah.
Pun fully intended.
Yeah, like I do think it's true, at least the Cancer I was married to, he had a lot of mood swings. And a lot of people want to say, oh no, it's just the women that have mood swings. No, the men totally have a lot of mood swings.
Well, I think calling it a mood swings may be a little harsh because I think that like all the water signs, Cancer has a very great capacity for emotion. And I think it's important, but you know, because we're both fire signs. I'm Aries, you're Leo, and we're both like emotions, bleh, sloppy things. We don't want to deal with that. But I think for the water signs, you know, you've got to remember that they are experiencing all of that stuff all at the same time. So it's not so much that there's a mood swing, it's that they may only be able to express one thing at a time. And then they kind of like the emotions queue up. And then they're like, okay, I'm happy, but I'm also angry, but I'm also depressed, but I'm happy about something else, but I have a contradicting emotion about this thing over here. And you have to deal with them in sequence. So
okay, well, I'm gonna call it emotional diarrhea.
No, don't be mean. Don't be mean to the water signs.
They can't choose when their emotions come out. But I'm like emotionally constipated, so.
I got nothing. I got nothing. But to seduce a Cancer, one thing I have found particular with the Cancers I have dated is they have a thing about their hands. Like it's almost like the crab claws. They like to have their hands massaged. They like to hold hands. They like to like see you talk with your hands. They, just there's something about hands, and even I would say handmade things, handcrafted stuff. There's just this thing that Taurus has like a connection, or excuse me, Cancer has a connection to it, and it seems like it really does draw them in and makes them feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So, and lots of touch, lots of, oh, I love you, I love you. They tend to go for that as well.
I'm just gonna let you finish through that one because I don't feel like I
That's
have
all I got.
nice
That's all
to
I got.
say. I am butthurt. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so Leo.
Fabulous lion.
Okay, what are the great things about dating a Leo? Let's hear them. Because I'm a Leo and I want to hear it.
Well, the fabulous thing, what I personally find wonderful about Leo, and I feel like this gets overlooked a lot, is Leo is one of the most phenomenally loyal signs of the zodiac. Mm-hmm. Like if they decide that you and they are on the same team, then they will be on your team forever, even if they know what you are doing is wrong.
That's just like true.
They're your ally and your partner in crime. They also really love to encourage you to be your best self and live your best life. Now, that can also be a con because depending on the Leo,
we're demanding. We are so demanding.
Yes.
We expect a lot of you.
Yes.
And if you don't please the queen or the king or whichever we are, whether we're male or female, if you don't please us and impress us, we are going to get onto you. And some signs can't handle it. Some signs are going to feel like crap about themselves, but that's not the way the Leo intends it to be. Like when it's someone we love, we mean it in the best possible way. But
I think Leo, they genuinely believe in people. And so I think like when you have your little home business that you're working on and you just got started and you're building it up and you're struggling, you're trying to figure things out, Leo's like, I don't understand why you're not the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. You can totally do it. Why are you not there yet?
Why are you not making $1 million a year? Why?
Exactly. Why? You're not embracing your fabulous. So it can come across as a little critical. And one thing I would also say with Leos is, and they don't like to admit this, but they are honestly one of the most emotionally fragile signs of the zodiac. They cannot handle rejection. It just crushes their soul. And I know they're supposed to be a big ferocious lion, but I like to think of them as the adorable house cat of the zodiac. And like if you think of sad cat from the internet, like that is a Leo when you don't want to play with them. They're just like, oh, so they can get so heartbroken so easily over rejection or perceived rejection. And especially for male Leos, for female too, but especially for male Leos, that often comes out as anger and it comes out as though they have a temper problem. So I would say it's a good sign to date if you have a lot of love and attention to give and you really want someone who's going to encourage you to be your best. It's not a great sign to date if you yourself are very, very hard on yourself and very low on confidence, and if you don't feel like you've got a lot of emotional energy to invest in someone.
Mm-hmm. Now, how to seduce and attract a Leo?
Yes, how do we do this?
I think this actually seems like it's really easy, but some Leos start getting really, really defensive and even kind of aggressive when they notice people are trying to woo them, because Leo doesn't want to feel like they're being, manipulated or
controlled
or whatever. Basically as Leos get older, they start to get more kind of on edge about that sort of thing. And it's more like the kind of mating ritual you see cats and lions go through, where they're like trying to mate and they start like growling at each other and stuff. So basically we end up scaring a lot of people away.
I think Leos are attracted to people who challenge them. And sometimes it can wind up being unintentional, because sometimes you can like legitimately be challenging something they said or thought or did because you personally are offended. And the fact that you stand up to them and you're kind of like, I'm going to be all fabulous and have an opinion over here. And Leo's like, ooh, that's kind of hot. So I think they like people who are willing to stand up to them, but still love them at the end of the day.
You also have to kind of know where your lane is, though.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, I'll say there's a lot of people I stopped talking to just because they didn't do what I told them to do. So you kind of have to be careful. You have to have good instincts. The same way if you're going to approach, like if you're the zookeeper and you're going to approach a lion, you have to have good instincts about whether or not that lion's going to attack you at that particular time. And I'm not saying that's a good thing about Leo right there, but that's a true thing.
By the way, the adorable fuzzy tail in the camera is my cat, Witchy Hoodoo. You can see more of him on my channel, Hoodoo Delish, if you just love him and can't get enough of his tail.
Just shamelessly advertise your channel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm just kidding. It's
I
totally
have
okay.
amazing content and everybody should be on it.
Everybody loves her channel. Okay, so anyway, we have Virgo here represented by the Hermit in Tarot. What's good about Virgo?
Virgos are a little tough. I'm not going to lie about that. I have had a serious relationship with one Virgo and I have dated another Virgo, and both of them, this sign is fundamentally an introvert, like, and especially if there's more than one Virgo anywhere in the chart, they prefer to observe and to learn. They want to be comfortable and to feel like they've had a chance to thoroughly analyze the situation before they even get involved. And so it can actually be kind of hard for you to tell if you like them because they tend to have so many layers of stuff going on. The other thing is they are incredibly intelligent, and that is such a strong pro to dating this sign, is that they're so smart, but a lot of them like to pretend to be idiots. And I have never figured out what that is. Like, they will legitimately dumb themselves down to just an unbelievable level where you're seriously looking at them like, you can't possibly be this dumb. How is this even possible?
Well,
so it's hard with them.
I think the bad thing is that a lot of times they seem worse than they actually are. And most people aren't like this because there's so many people out there who will have more charisma than they even deserve to have. Like, they can't even back it up. But Leo, a lot of times, I mean, not Leo, Virgo.
We're done talking about you. We're done talking about you.
Virgo, a lot of times, I think they deserve to have so much more charisma and confidence than they actually have. But they kind of lack those kind of social charms. So they aren't able to advertise themselves well. So you might have just found like a diamond in the rough, but you might not even be able to recognize that it's a diamond.
Yeah, the diamond thinks it's a pebble, so it's not going to explain that it's a diamond. I think it's just with them, if you're in a place in your life where you really want to invest in somebody as a person first and as a romantic partner later, then Virgo is a good sign for that because they prefer to do it that way almost always. I would say one of the things that I find very rewarding about dating them is that they want to be helpful. Like, they perpetually want to provide other people with resources and tools for their lives to get better. And this is actually where Virgo's reputation for being critical comes from. Like, they will walk into your house and see that you have dirty dishes and be like, oh, did you know there's a sale on dishwashers? And they're trying to be helpful. They're trying to help you improve their life because they think, well, I hate dirty dishes. Dirty dishes have germs. Germs are terrible. And I don't want this person that I care about to have germs in their life. So I'm going to tell them about this wonderful sanitizing dishwasher that's on sale.
Most people will dump them for that kind of nonsense.
Yes.
Honestly. So how do we attract a Virgo?
Criticize them. Actually, seriously.
That was my idea. I gave you that advice.
But it works. It does work.
I give her advice a lot.
It does work. Like, you tell them, like, hey, I see this thing that you could do better, and here's like a book for that. And they're like, oh, they're helping me improve my life. They must care about me. Yeah. And that is the other thing too. Virgo tends to be very love driven. Like, Virgo, I would say more than any other sign I've ever dated, Virgo tends to be very, very focused on feeling like you know who they are and you love that person that they are. So.
Okay. All right. So next sign we have here is Libra. Now, the good thing about dating a Libra, I feel like, is kind of self-explanatory because Libra is the sign of partnerships, and they're good at making compromises and focusing on what's good for the other person and trying to be fair. It doesn't mean they always know all the answers and that they're perfect, but they're at least concerned with trying, which a lot of people are all focused on, oh, me, me, me. Everyone focus on how great I am. Libra, I feel like, is genuinely not like that.
They're more about us. Us.
Yeah.
So, and they do, from what I have seen, I've never actually dated a Libra seriously. I think I've been on one first date with one Libra that I know of. But they do seem to be very focused on finding things that are going to work for both people. So it's not just about a compromise, it's about a long-term functional compromise. The cons of dating Libras.
They show up late for dates.
Oh my God, do they? I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure Libras know what clocks are. Just in general, I've met so many Libras who have this problem with time.
Yeah,
I have
yeah, they're not that good with
my
time.
best friend in the whole world is a Libra, and she has routinely done things like show up 3 hours early for work.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
just, you know,
Yeah.
so I think they have issues with timing. They also have issues with deciding if they want to do this or not. So, and they can sometimes make other signs feel a little insecure because they want to sit down and talk with you about everything that they're thinking about whether or not they should be in this relationship. And again, my same best friend, she is now married to an Aries, and she would actually sit down with him and tell him like all the reasons that she should be with him and all the reasons she should not be with him. And he would be like, well, what do you mean there are reasons you should not
Why
be with
did you
me?
even make this list?
Yes, why is this list here?
It sounds awful.
So, but I think that's the thing is that is actually a sign that they're interested and that they're thinking about the long term and that they are sincerely invested. So you just have to learn to take that the right way.
Mm-hmm. Now, to attract a Libra, oh gosh, I feel like it's part of it's just being attractive, but the other part of it is it's like being a puzzle piece. Like if they feel like your personality clicks together with theirs just like perfectly, like they feel like they've found the missing piece of themselves. Because I think Libra is one sign that walks around acknowledging that I by myself am not complete and I need other people in my life, and they're out there like looking for the right people all the time.
Yeah, and the other thing too is I would say that whole list thing, Libra does that when they're looking for a partner. So there is a certain element here, and like I hate to put it this way, but there is a certain element here. If you're not what they're looking for, they're just not going to be interested.
Yeah. But basically, if a Libra is peanut butter, then they're probably looking for jelly.
Right.
So just
So
always
if you
think
are
of it.
spinach, this doesn't mean there's anything wrong with being
Mhm.
spinach, but you might not be somebody that they're going to be interested in.
I'm probably spinach, so I probably need a Libra who's like Alfredo or something. Or a Libra who's pasta.
We'll put that on your dating profile. Looking for an Alfredo Libra.
An Alfredo dish to date. Okay, next sign is Scorpio. Okay, so I don't know. I think Scorpios are good and bad. Is that a good thing about Scorpio?
Well, I mean, I think any sign can be good and bad.
That's true.
So
probably.
Scorpio does tend to be less inhibited sexually than some of the other signs. So they tend to be more willing to try things. They tend to be more exploratory about their bodies and other people's bodies. So that is definitely a pro in any long-term relationship or even in the short term.
I think Scorpios are usually easy to be around too. You know how like a lot of us introverted people, we feel like people really drain our energy. I feel like Scorpio isn't usually a drain. They're usually like more of a neutral, and they won't like take away. I mean, at least I've never felt that way. So I don't know.
I think it depends on the Scorpio, honestly, because I've been around some that are very draining and I've been around some that are very uplifting. I think it really, because Scorpio is the sign of like secrets and revealing that which is hidden. And so I think it really depends on like their personal attitude and what they want to reveal out of you.
They don't like being superficial, which is probably why I feel like they're not draining, because
Right.
superficial stuff like I feel like is draining.
Yes. And as long as they are going deep, they want to dive deep and have those really profound conversations and those life-changing revelations. And as long as that is oriented towards something positive and they want to talk about something really that is uplifting, then I think they're very empowering people. Now, I've met a few that are kind of on the opposite, like wherever they are in their journey, they're kind of on the opposite side, and they like just want to talk about all the trauma and like the dirty little secrets and the things that are wrong with the world. And those
like everything
Scorpios
bad
are a little
that
bit of a
happened.
pain to be around.
Yeah. I would say the cons though are that they like to cuddle.
They are a little on the jealous, possessive, and clingy side. Like,
Yeah, and I mean that's such a good thing for some people. Like other water signs will probably like that they like to cuddle and that
Earth
they're
signs
really,
typically appreciate that too. Like they like that
yeah.
physicalness, and they like, I think Earth signs also tend to like a little bit of jealousy. Like they like to feel like they're valuable enough that someone would be afraid of losing them.
Yeah, I feel like they just kind of need to back off and leave me alone when they start getting like that. But I mean, that's just, everyone has their preference. So this is why we're making this video.
Well, that's like kind of the point of the whole video is, you know, not everybody is for everybody, but there is someone out there for everyone. And
for sure.
I will say the other thing too is if you want somebody who is intensely enthusiastic about falling in love, usually Scorpios are. Like they want that soulmate love. They want like that soulmate sex. They are like totally willing to kind of take that plunge and do the whole dramatic romance thing. And so Scorpio can be very good for that. And they're probably the easiest to seduce also because it's just very like classic romance, classic sexual seduction.
But I feel like they like people who stand out. And if you're really specifically trying to attract them, probably like dating someone else and making them jealous could work.
That's a very unhealthy suggestion. I'm not saying it wouldn't work, but
that's why I wouldn't actually want to do it. But
I do think that a more healthy way to do that might possibly be to tell them that you're not dating seriously right now and you're kind of looking to meet people, but that you would like to spend time with them. And then kind of, you know, and kind of limit your availability so that they get a sense that there may be other people that you are still interested in. And that puts it in a place where, you know, you're not, there's no like cheating or going behind anybody's back, but Scorpio still can have that sense of like, I think they like to like what other people like. They kind of have that social proof thing going for them.
Yeah.
So
I told it like it was though. Gotta give me credit for that. Okay, so Sagittarius.
Oh boy.
Sagittarius. So
this is where, like, you know, you say you have to not say much with Cancer. I have to not say a lot with Sagittarius. I don't have a lot of nice things to say about Sagittarius.
Well, Sagittarians usually have like really warm, welcoming personalities. They usually have a great sense of humor. And generally speaking, they're fun to be around. Like they're going to have relationships where there's lots of laughter and lots of excitement. You know, I just feel like it's fun being with them. One of the bad things, though, about Sagittarius is that sometimes they don't deal with negativity that well. Like Sagittarius loves to be optimistic. They love to have fun. They like to partake in the good times. But once something bad happens, or if someone says something that can even be interpreted as slightly negative, the Sagittarius will take it very personally. It's like an attack on their soul. If there's any kind of pessimism or negativity going on in the situation, and they get really bitter about it. They're on a vendetta, basically, like trying to banish the world of negativity. So that's a thing when they just kind of get on that kind of quest and they start going on witch hunts and stuff like that, trying to get rid of all the negative people in the world. I've seen a handful of them do that, and really, they're the type that might actually run at the first like sign of something bad in a relationship. They really will do that because they don't want to put up with the negativity or a bad circumstance. And it might not even like really be something that's that bad, but if they perceive it as being bad, they might leave. So they're not really seen as being that stable or that loyal, although they are totally capable of being in a long-term relationship, and I've seen them do this. But this is why they get kind of the bad rap for being flaky and stuff, and there is at least a small amount of truth to it, you know, in what I've just explained.
Well, one thing that I would say, and I think it's both a pro and a con with the Sagittarians that I have known personally and professionally. They do seem, it's almost like Sagittarius's life mission in this lifetime is that they want to find their soulmate. Like more so than any other sign, I've noticed that as a recurring theme with Sagittarius. They are on a mission to find true love, and they really believe in true love. Now, depending on kind of what their background is and what baggage they carry with them from this life or other lives, they may have some very interesting ideas about what true love looks like, but they're still looking for that. So on the pro side, they really are open to discovering a soulmate connection and opening their heart. On the con side, they can have a little bit of a hard time um, sticking it out to see if that connection is actually there, because I think they have an inherent belief that if it's there, it's going to click immediately.
Yeah, it's almost like they run around like sniffing people, or even this is probably a better metaphor, shooting them with their arrow, almost like it's like Cupid's arrow. Like you go around hunting and shooting people, and you shoot them, and you
Yeah.
walk up to them, and they're wounded and stuff, and they're like, they're yours. You can take them right there. You could, but you're like, oh nope, that wasn't my soulmate, and then you go like running off to find
A little bit, yeah.
another deer or whatever that you're going to shoot with your arrow. So how to attract and seduce a Sagittarius?
Be funny. They love to
Yes.
laugh. They love you to laugh at their jokes. They want to laugh at your jokes. They want to go to a comedy club with you and laugh at other people's jokes.
And they're all about the personality. Like a good smile will really attract them. They want to find people who are genuinely happy.
Yes. Yes, they definitely want to find people who are happy. And they all seem to love psychology. I think every single one, like they love to try to understand how the human mind works. So if you can talk to them about things about how humans work mentally and how to like understand thought processes, and especially if you can turn it into some kind of joke that's still educational, they really they like that.
Yeah, they love it when you have the same sense of humor as them. That's like a requirement in their partnerships. All right, so next we have Capricorn.
Capricorn.
Oh boy, okay. So, do you want to do this or should I?
You know, I actually have not dated a lot of Capricorns. The ones that I've gone out with, I don't feel like I ever really got romantically close with. Now, what I can say about them is that just like Leo, these Capricorns are very loyal. Once they are on your team, you like have a ally for life. But getting them on your team is a bit of a challenge. They do seem to be a little suspicious inherently. So they're not super trusting people most of the time. They also tend to be very focused on their own goals and ideas and building their own foundation, and that can make them really oblivious when somebody likes them. Like they've just got that tunnel vision for what they want to achieve in life, and you can be like over here dancing naked with flowers, and they're like, oh, what's that naked person doing? You know, like they're very focused on what they're doing. So that is definitely a con to trying to date them, is you may have to like grab them and shake them until something pops loose and say, I like you, you know. But
I think they think about the long term, and that can be a good thing.
yes, that is definitely a good thing. They're not going to go too fast, which if you've been kind of emotionally traumatized, that's a good thing.
I was emotionally traumatized by a Capricorn, so thank you.
Well,
no comment.
Sorry, but I mean, they're not gonna move the relationship too fast most of the time. You know, unless there's something else in their chart that kind of changes that. In general, Capricorn's not gonna like move in with you 3 days after they met you. On the other hand, for some of the other signs, like I would say a Sagittarius and a Capricorn would probably drive each other bananas. Because Sagittarius is like, I found the one, let's move in today, let's get married tomorrow, let's move to Mexico the following week after that and start building our dream resort. You know, like Sagittarius is ready to go instantly, and Capricorn is more like, let's see how this plays out. And let's see over the next couple of years, you know. So if you're looking for somebody who's going to think long-term and plan long-term and move slow, Capricorn's good for that.
Okay, so the the pro that I'm going to give for Capricorn is they usually know how to fix situations, how to handle situations, how to be practical about things. You know, they usually are pretty grounded, and they know what they're doing in life, and they know how to do things right. But one of the cons for them is sometimes they also know how to make a bad situation even worse. And for some reason they'll just, you know, Capricorn gets in that pattern of digging. You know, once they get that momentum going, they're just going to keep going in that direction.
The same tunnel vision.
So, I mean, sometimes they'll be going in a good direction. They'll be working towards something positive, but sometimes they start working towards something negative too, and they're just going to keep going and going and going in that direction. And things can get worse from that. You know, the same way that Capricorn can make such amazing progress in a good way, they can also make very negative and destructive progress if their head is not in the right place. All right, so for attracting a Capricorn, I'm gonna say that they kind of like to see people who have goals and who have work ethic. What do you think?
Yes, and I would say achieved goals. People who have achieved goals.
I don't know why any Capricorn would like me then.
Well, well, it really
Hey,
depends. It
Capricorns,
depends a
why are
little
you
bit
talking
again,
to me?
but they like to see proof of concept. So, they admire you if you say you're going to school, but they respect you if you have that degree. They like you if you say you're starting a business, but they are interested in you if you have a business that is producing. They like to know that you know how to make things work. And I think they also they seem to have a real soft spot for overcomers. Like if you have overcome some serious crap, Capricorn respects that. And I think they would almost even see that as having achieved a goal. Like survival is a goal as far as Capricorn.
Oh, that's
is
why they
concerned.
like me. Okay.
So,
All right. So next we have Aquarius. Screen keeps going black here. So Aquarius. Okay, one of the great things about Aquarius is they are genuinely nice people with good intentions, and they really see things from such a wide perspective. They're not the type of person who will get caught up in their own life and their own perspective and their own vision. Like they're very expansive. They're going to see things from other people's point of view. They're going to think about what's better for the world as a whole, and they're interested in actually like finding their place in the universe rather than being focused on finding their place specifically within a relationship. I think most of them are able to accept that, hey, a relationship might not be my destiny, and I have other things that I need to pursue in life. Other signs when you choose them as a relationship partner, there's going to be a lot of pressure. Like, if you're going to be my soulmate, then you're going to be my purpose in life, and you're going to have to basically pay a lot of attention to me, spend like a lot of time with me. And Aquarius is capable of just kind of like going off and doing their own thing. But the bad
that
thing
is
about
also
that,
the con about Aquarius.
yes, they might just kind of float off like a balloon. Your Aquarius will like disappear.
I dated an Aquarius for quite a long time, and she had this habit of vanishing for months at a time, like poof, just complete invisibility, like she got transported to a different planet or something. And I would be like calling, like, hello, are you still interested? Are you there? What's going on?
Like you're like
Did
shouting
you die?
into the wind.
Like, was there a funeral and nobody told me? And then she would pop back up again 2 or 3 or 4 months later and be like, hi, I love you. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, that doesn't really seem to be how relationships work. And Aquarius, sometimes they won't get that. They won't understand, like, well, why isn't this okay? Like, is this not the thing? Like, Aquarius doesn't break the rules. Aquarius just doesn't know the rules.
Understand that there are rules, yes.
Yeah, they don't seem to acknowledge that. So how do we attract Aquarians? How do you attract the Aquarians that you date?
They just love weird things. They love very extreme personalities. They love very extreme beliefs. They love people who are willing to have very extreme conversations. I actually went on a first date with an Aquarius once who literally spent 4 hours telling me I think that this person was trying to explain how they wound up using the law of attraction to manifest going to a festival. What wound up being explained was how this individual was going to save the entire planet from all the aliens that were coming because they used so many drugs. It was fascinating, but I didn't have a lot to contribute because I don't do drugs, and no aliens so far have enlisted me to save the universe.
If you were talking to aliens, I would expect you to share that experience with me. I would feel like our friendship is not as good as I thought it was.
I think
if
so.
I didn't hear about that.
I mean, I think that's something I would mention. But they like to. I would say maybe they like people with flexible minds. They like that if you can just kind of jump into a conversation and just follow it to its farthest extreme.
But I think the way I attract Aquarians is by confusing them. Like if nothing about me makes sense, Aquarians will be like determined that they're gonna find a way to date me. Like, where did she get that Latina child? Is she gay or is she straight?
They have a little bit of that. They do. They like mystery.
Why is she dressed as a cat?
They are curious and they do like mystery and they do like people who seem a little contradictory. Now, here is one thing, and this is you have to be careful about it. I would say especially us fire signs have to be careful about this. Aquarius does like people that are very come here, go away. I love you, I hate you. That they actually do kind of get off on that, and it can become unintentionally abusive.
Yeah, if you like tell them like you can't talk right now, they will like start arguing
Blowing
with
up your
you.
phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like their normal. They have a very high anxiety response a lot of the time, and so you just have to be careful what you say. I would say like if you legitimately can't talk to an Aquarius, you need to say, "I will call you at time." Like they need that reassurance because they just don't have the grounding inherent in that sign to be like, oh, she's probably busy. They tend to immediately jump to, oh my God, her, she's been kidnapped by aforementioned aliens and everything is terrible and I need to know where to go to pick her up on the spaceship and I need to talk to her right now. So,
The aliens got her.
Yeah.
Okay, so last but not least, we have Pisces.
Pisces are sweet.
Yeah.
They also have so many feelings about so much stuff, and
the camera's not focusing. I don't know why.
Focus on the Pisces.
Whoop. It's not doing it. Okay, maybe I'll just hold this here. All right, so I always felt like I would just break Pisces' hearts if I ever tried to date one, so I haven't really done it before.
I think I terrify them. I've only been out with one of them on one date, and I like they're so sensitive and they have so many emotional responses to things, and I feel like they're very reactive to other people's emotions. They tend to be extremely compassionate. Sometimes they even will like react more strongly to, my goodness. Sometimes they will even react, I think, more strongly to my emotions than I react to my own emotions.
For sure. They'll let you know what your emotions are. I guess that's a good thing.
Well, yeah, that can definitely be a pro to dating them, and I would say the biggest pro to dating them is that they're just incredibly sweet. Like they can be very sentimental and very snuggly, very affectionate. They've got kind of all of those things that they just want to be sweet, adorable people. The con to dealing with them is that they can be very, very emotionally fragile, and it's just so easy to hurt their feelings.
I think Pisces, if you date them, they'll get very immersed in your life. Like they're not good at setting boundaries for themselves, so they will be willing to do a lot for you and to make sacrifices for you and all that great, really sweet stuff. But at the same time, that's the bad thing because that can put them in a bad situation. That can make them feel like they're not grounded and like their life isn't stable.
And it can really compromise their identity.
And over time, they might even like become codependent or something like that. And I think that's part of the reason why I've never dated a Pisces because I don't feel like I have my life together and I just know it would be probably too much for them. I mean, I know they would probably handle it and they'd probably stick around, but I wouldn't want to do that to them.
Yeah, I think in general, I think it takes a very special, very open-hearted, and very compassionate person to date a Pisces. And also a fairly emotionally mature person, regardless of the emotional maturity of the Pisces. Because if you are in a relationship with a Pisces, you are in a relationship with the entire 12th house, which basically means all the emotions of the entire world all at the same time. Like that is what Pisces is dealing with every moment of every day.
Yeah.
So
I really think Virgo and Pisces are a good match for each other. I feel like all Virgo should be with Pisces and all Pisces should be with Virgo.
Yeah, I think they do well together.
And I know
because Virgo will
exceptions.
sit and listen to all of that disorganized subconscious stuff that Pisces is
and
trying
then
to
Pisces
sort through.
won't like even though Pisces is sensitive, usually they can handle the fact that Virgo is kind of like anal retentive and like picks up on things because Pisces can actually appreciate, hey, I didn't notice that, But I know there's exceptions to that. I know there's like Virgos out there who are like married to Sagittarians and stuff. And I'm not trying to like attack your relationship at all because, I've seen good relationships that aren't just specifically Virgo and Pisces. But if you're like a Virgo or Pisces and you're out there and you just can't find anyone to make it work yet, anyone to make it work with, then maybe you should try dating your opposite. You know, if you're a Pisces, try dating a Virgo. If you're a Virgo, try dating a Pisces, and you
And
might
I
be
will say for,
surprised.
for Virgo, Pisces can really help them to be aware of their own emotions more because Virgo is so analytical that sometimes it's like they don't have feelings.
Yeah,
So,
it's a good
and they won't
balancing.
even, they'll have a very destructive behavior that they don't even realize they have or why
Hmm.
they have it. And then Pisces will be like, well, that's because this thing over here is hurting you.
Yeah, and that's
So,
basically why they say you're supposed to date your opposite, even though it's difficult. But I think Pisces and Virgo tend to be the two opposite signs that make it work better than any other opposite pairing does. You know, like for example, Leo and Aquarius. I'm a Leo. If I try to date an Aquarius, we'll just like fight nonstop. We'll butt heads, and it's kind of miserable.
I can't imagine dating a Libra, honestly. I am so extreme and I'm so decisive and I'm always like black or white, never gray. And when people are like, well, we should weigh all the options, I'm just like, I don't have time for that. I'm like,
She's gonna make a decision right now, and if you tell her to wait or to slow down, she's gonna make the decision even faster. She's gonna be out the door. Trust me.
so, but suggestions for seducing Pisces. Um, this is one sign I would say straight up copy them. Like if you
Mm,
see them doing something
yes.
sweet either for you or for someone else, do that for them. Like if they're giving somebody cards, give them cards. If they're giving somebody flowers, give them flowers.
Yeah, that's true. I would like, as a Leo, I would straight up probably just steal their jacket and wear it and just like stare at them. Be like, I'm wearing your jacket. What are you gonna do?
That's not copying them. That's
Yes,
stealing from
it
them.
is. You're copying their fashion by stealing their fashion.
Maybe if you go
That's
like buy your own.
that's a way to say I like you. I'm gonna dress like you. Just like walk out the door with their pants.
We
Be
need to
like,
have a
you're
talk.
gonna have to come get these back.
We need to have a talk. Yeah.
All right, well, we're gonna go have a talk. She's gonna try to talk some sense into me.
Thank you guys so much for watching this. Definitely tell us everything that you think down in the comments below. Let us know what your sign is. What are some of the ways to seduce you? What are some of the signs you've dated and your opinions on the pros and cons of dating those signs? Stick it all down there. If you want to see more from me, I'm Ms Avi on Hoodoo Delish.
I will link
Definitely
her.
subscribe to this amazing, amazing woman's channel. I can't talk today. Wacko Witch Astrology. She's got awesome videos on everything from Venus signs to how the signs handle heartbreak to I think you're doing right now the magical meanings behind the alphabet.
Yep.
It's incredible content. You guys definitely need to see it.
Yep, and I know more than I act like I know a lot of times because I like to listen to other people. I absorb the knowledge like a sponge. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching my video, and I will see you soon. Bye.